Well, it's Bun B, baby, the king of moving chickens, the big southern rap impresario. Much like Big Boy of Outkast, Malice of the Clips, or 8Ball with MJG, Bun B is one half of the legendary duo that hails from the South. The UGK legacy still lives on as rappers like Big Crit, Webby, Boosie, Weezy, T.I., and more all owe a lot of their style to the boys from Port Arthur, Texas. For today's episode of Culturalist Theory, we're diving into the catalog of Bernard Bun B Freeman, a wordsmith who is as much respected as he is feared on the mic. We're only ranking his 5 official solo studio albums, so if you're anticipating his extensive collaborative catalog with producers Statik Selektah and Corey Moe, you'll have to convince us to put in the work to get that done for a separate list. How can you do that? Subscribe to this channel, join our Patreon, get some bonus content, and access our Discord channel to let your voice be heard. Without further ado, let's do this for the trill. And make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video when we announce the winner of our Common and Pete Rock vinyl giveaway. Number 5, Trilogy, the epilogue. Here's a question for the audience. What do you think is easier to write? Reviews for bad albums or good albums? If you said good albums, you'd be correct because when something is jamming, it simply speaks for itself. This write-up ranking Bun B's catalog is hands down the easiest one we've ever penned because each record in the catalog is thorough. The only difficult part is picking the one we like the least. Unfortunately, after several playthroughs, the 5th ranking would have to go to his 4th album, Trilogy, the epilogue. This 2013 release will be Bun B's final drop on Rap-A-Lot Records before going on hiatus, then returning to the industry independently. Now don't get it confused by thinking this is a whack record because so many songs on here are the definition of hard. Check out the tracks Eagles, Dippin' and Swervin', and On One with Devin the Dude and Gator Man for proof. However, this album feels less like the cohesive body of work that we're used to getting from Big Bun, where he covers various topics with differing moods, than it does a compilation of jams. In an interview with Rap Radar in 2014, Bun B said essentially that, quote, it's a lot of good music that either didn't fit the format of the last album or that we decided to save for another project. I sat down with my longtime business partner and Rap-A-Lot CEO James Prince to review the music that we had and quickly came up with an outstanding track list. The epilogue is the perfect opportunity to release some great material to the fans and a proper final chapter for the Trilogy, end quote. If these songs actually were leftovers from Trilogy, then there are more than a few we would love to swap out on the original track list. For instance, Cake with Pimp C, Big Crit, and Boosie Badass sounds like premier country rap tunes. The legendary DJ Screw featuring a litany of original SUC members is pure gold. Don't Play With Me and Gladiator are the songs you need to have on your gym playlist if you're looking for juice for that last rep. Those are just the tip of the iceberg. The epilogue reached number 30 on the Billboard 200 and didn't make much of a dent sales-wise, but it was another victory lap for Bun B in critic circles, where his reputation for consistency was further cemented. I doubt this has ever been done before in Culturalist Theory history, but we'd recommend listening to the lowest ranked album on this list just as much as the number 1. Number 4, Too Trill. There's a haunting atmosphere that pervades the sonic landscape of Bun B's second album, Too Trill. After being released in 2005, Pimp C reunited with his cohort Bun B to get back to business. They hit the ground running, with Pimp C releasing his debut in 2006, making features as a group on T.I.'s Front Back and Lil Kiki's Chuck the Deuce, and having the biggest hit of their careers with the single International Players Anthem on their Billboard 200 #1 album, Underground Kings, in 2007. While they were riding high on top of the world, an unforeseen tragedy would strike. Only 4 months after Underground Kings dropped, Chad Pimp C Butler was found deceased in a Los Angeles hotel room at only 33 years old after a long battle with lean addiction and clinical bipolar disorder. Pimp's passing rocked the world of hip-hop and hit Bun B the hardest. It would have been understandable had Bun B decided to take a hiatus to grieve, but he believed the best way to honor the legacy of his friend was to keep his foot on the gas. On the album, there's a beautiful dedication to his fallen comrade on Angel in the Sky, where Bun raps about how he misses Chad, as well as sporadic RIPs and lyrics of other songs. Also, Too Trill is absent of any lyrics celebrating drinking lean, as the addictive cough syrup concoction caused Pimp to pass on. This shows the Trilogy was mature enough to no longer glorify something that causes self-destruction. Of course, the album isn't all somber. In fact, there are bangers on here that sound like the party never stopped. Poppin' for Pimp, produced by Mouse, has the feel of Back That Ass Up, with a Webby and Juvie feature to boot. Damn I'm Cold features Lil Wayne in his prime, when he could just breathe on a mic and make a hit. The posse cut Your Everything has an all-star cast of Third Coast vets. Bun, Rick Ross, David Banner, and 8Ball all put their spin on Southern Pride until MJG destroys the track. Other jams include the Scott Storch produced I Love That, My Block with Jazzy Faye, and a surprising Lupe Fiasco collab with Swang on them. However, most of the aforementioned appear in the first half of the album, and the tone totally changes toward the middle, starting with the 8th track, Get Your Issue. From 2007 to 2008, police in the United States murdered 32 African Americans who were proven to be unarmed. On Get Your Issue, Bun B goes off and raps, quote, "You know police brutality is an all-time high, pumping 61 slugs into an unarmed guy," end quote, before continuing, try to say that he was selling he had a handgun. When you couldn't find one, you plant one. The rage and social consciousness continue on tracks like If I Die Tonight with Young Buck, The Iraq War Inspired Another Soldier, and If It Was Up to Me with Junior Reed. The shift in tone on this record is palpable and makes for an engaging listen when Bun B turns into a revolutionary black fist. The record does drag a bit on at times though, feeling like we're treading the same path twice. 2 Trill will be a critical darling and performed commercially well, selling over 300,000 copies, reaching number 2 on the Billboard 200, and spending 3 weeks at number 1 on the rap charts. Number 3, Trill OG. The Source magazine was, in its heyday, the Bible of hip-hop journalism. The magazine's album review section, where albums were rated from 0 to 5 mics, with 5 meaning it's a classic, was one of the most widely read parts of the print. The number of mics an album got could influence fans to buy the product or leave it on the shelves, and determine who was leading the culture. Needless to say, getting 5 mics was a coveted accomplishment, and a few can claim to have earned it. Eric B. and Rakim's Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em, KRS-One's Edutainment, A Tribe Called Quest's Low End Theory, Outkast's Aquemini, Cube's America's Most Wanted, Big's Life After Death, Hov's The Blueprint, and most famously Nas's Illmatic are just some of the recipients. Sandwiched in between Lil' Kim's The Naked Truth and the final album to get 5 mics, Kanye's Twisted Fantasy, is Bun B's 3rd album, 2010's Trill OG. The best comparison to be made to Trill OG is the iPhone 4, released in the same year. Both feature cutting-edge innovations in their fields. Trill OG embraces the changing style of hip-hop through its sleek, synthy production from the best beat makers around like Boy Wonder, Drummer Boy, and Justice League, the same way Steve Jobs flexed his new product as the thinnest smartphone in the world. The top-notch feature appearances show Bun B was embracing the genre's changing of the guard. Gucci Mane, Jeezy, Trey Songz, and Drake's presence opens and punctuates the project, similar to how Apple's latest smartphone introduced Retina display. To sum it up, Trill OG was a state-of-the-art album for its time, an album that was of its time and slightly ahead of it. There are several songs on here that still ring off today. Riding Slow with Slim Thug and Playing Skills is Texas slab music for the new decade. Trillionaire with T-Pain is as grandiose as it is glossy. Bun B fits like a glove inside Drake's OVO sound on Put It Down, and It's Been a Pleasure. The DJ Premier produced Let 'Em Know allows Bun B to flex his lyrical powers. A major gamble is made when Bun puts posthumous verses from Pimp C and Tupac on the same song Right Now, with Trey Songz crooning the hook bridging the verses. However, the risk leads to reward, as that is one of the album's highlights. With that said, some of the tracks feel like filler, such as Lights Camera Action, I Get Down for Mine, and Snow Money. It's made worse by the fact that they're all in close proximity in the track list. Finally, the sappy collab with LaToya Luckett, All a Dream, sounds like it was tacked on at the last minute. Is Trill OG an above par album overall though? Certainly. However, the cutting edge tech of the iPhone 4 was surpassed only 2 years later when Apple released the 5. Number 2, Return of the Trill. After a 5-year hiatus, Bun B returned with his 5th and, as of this writing, final solo album, 2018's Return of the Trill. In between time, Bun B began teaching a class on religion and hip-hop at Houston's Rice University, released a hip-hop themed coloring book for kids, and toured with fellow Houstonian Kirko Bangs. With his busy calendar, it's damn near incredible Bun B still found time and the drive to put together such a cohesive album. While it's his lowest performing album commercially, barely creeping into the Billboard 200 at number 150, it is by far one of his most excellent executions. Bun B is one of the few elder statesman MCs who gets better with age, and the proof can be found on Return of the Trill. He demolishes the opener, Trill Over Everything, so badly that Killer Killian can barely keep up. He makes T.I. up his pen game to hang on Recognize and sons Lil Wayne on Rude Boy. His storytelling skills are vivid on Blood on the Dash, a 3-verse epic about a cop who wants to do good in the hood until a suspect reaches in his waistband. For conscious records, check out You a Bitch, which attacks the criminal justice system, and The Reflective Myself with Run the Jewels. For those looking for that classic Texas music to swang and bang to, though, Bun got you covered with Know What I'm Saying with Slim Thug and Lil Keke, and Hoes from the Hood, which samples his classic bars from UGK's Take It Off. What makes Return of the Trill stand out from previous albums in Bun's discography is that it is reaping the benefits of the seeds from the UGK family tree sprouting into full bloom. 6 of the 14 tracks are produced by Mississippi's own Big Crit, a rapper whose DNA is damn near 99% UGK. Other rappers who undoubtedly grew up on Chad and Bun, 2 Chainz and Yo Gotti, deliver outstanding performances alongside their OG on Trap Hands, the cross between trap and gospel orchestrated by Mannie Fresh. At 45 years old upon its release, Bun B is under no illusion that he is the young wild man of his youth. This mature album deals with getting older with grace on the reflective Grow Up with 8 Ball and MJG, as well as on Gone Away, a touching one-verse poem dedicated to his deceased partner in rhyme. The only misstep on this album would be British rapper Giggs' placement on the track Never Going Back, as his verse didn't gel with the topic of the song. Other than that, this is grown man music that you can't deny if you're a fan of bars and beats. Number 1, Trill. The year 2005 was a remarkable year for hip-hop and a breakthrough for Southern rap in particular, with Houston and Atlanta leading the charge. 10 years after Andre 3000 famously said the South got something to say at the '95 Source Awards, the world had no choice but to listen. That year, numerous number 1 and platinum albums came from the Dirty Dirty. Jeezy's Thug Motivation 101, Yin Yang Twins USA, Missy's The Cookbook, Mike Jones' Who is Mike Jones, Chamillionaire's The Sound of Revenge, Lil Wayne's The Carter 2, and Paul Wall's The People's Champ. That's just listing million copy sellers that were competing in the marketplace against blockbuster LPs like The Game's The Documentary, 50's Massacre, and Kanye's Late Registration. Coming out hard in the third quarter of a historic year was the OG with his debut record Trill. Though not an RIAA certified plat, it did move a respectable 500,000 units and spawn 3 successful singles. More importantly, it legitimized Bun B as a solo artist after years of rapping alongside the enigmatic Pimp C and UGK. For more context, Pimp C was sentenced to 8 years in prison in 2002. After releasing commercially successful and critically acclaimed albums from '92 to '01 as a group, Bun was suddenly left out in the cold without his partner in rhyme and arguably the mastermind of the group's appeal. This caused Bun to lash out in fits of rage and dive into a deep depression, which he self-medicated with alcohol for months. It took inspiration from his wife, Queenie, and phone calls from Pimp C to get his mind right and back on the grind. From that point on, Bun B went on a rampage featuring on rappers and singer singles all over the country. Notable appearances from this run include Lil Jon and E40's Rep Your City, Slim Thug's 3 Kings with T.I., Paul Wall's They Don't Know, Jeezy's Trap or Die, Yo Gotti's Gangsta Party, and Beyonce's Check on It. Bun B was the innovator of the Flood the Field with feature strategy, a tactic Lil Wayne would utilize not long after, and he'd rightfully credit Bun. Simultaneously, Bun B was shouting out Free Pimp C on every record, creating a meme that went viral before social media. All of this grinding led Bun B to link up with Houston's Don Dada J Prince of Rap-A-Lot Records to ink a solo deal to release his debut record. Okay, now we can talk about the music. Bun B's Trill sounds like the summation of everything great about gritty gangsta rap coming out of the Dirty in this era. From the knocking beats that break the bass to the abrasive bars delivered by an MC blessed with a booming voice, this LP is a time capsule when realness, regional pride, and production quality were as paramount as being a beast on the mic. It's hard to make a great rap album, and it's even harder to make one where almost every song can be argued to be the best on the album. Let's just run down this track list. Get Throw with Pimp C, Jay-Z, and Jeezy, classic. Draped Up featuring Lil Keke, that's a Texas staple. I'm Fresh and What I Represent with hooks and beats from Mannie Fresh in his prime, both fire. Trill Recognized Trill where Ludacris goes bar for bar with Bun on one of Lil Jon's nastiest beats, Flames. It just gets better from there with reflective trap music on Pushin' with Scarface and Jeezy, a club rocker that could still ring out today. Get It with the Yin Yang Twins produced by Mr. Collie Park, and lavish raps on I'm Ballin' with hitmaker Jazzy Faye. From this list, if you took your pick and argued it was the album's centerpiece, you'd have a strong argument. Probably the most fascinating and revealing song on the album is True Story. Over a soulful beat from John Beto, Bun B raps 48 bars straight with no hook about his life in UGK. He alludes to conflict and tension amidst the brotherhood he shared with Chad, as well as the trappings of success in the streets. One of the most interesting things he raps about is the success of Big Pimpin' and how that caused a rift with their label Jive. Everybody knows the story of Pimp C almost causing their Jay-Z collab not to happen because he thought it was selling out. But do we know about Bun B resisting Jive, insisting they get another beat from Timbo and a verse from Hov for the same reason? This caused Jive to put UGK on the back burner, which explains the large gap in between Riding Dirty and Dirty Money. It makes us wonder what would have been had Jive and UGK seen eye to eye. Let us know what you think would have happened. In summation, Trill is an excellent album with minimal skips. Hold You Down with Trey Songz and Mike Jones is a serviceable song until Birdman brings it down a notch. Who Needs a B with Too Short and Juvenile could have been snipped, as none of them deliver convincing performances. But these are tolerable on an album that's mostly excellent. Trill would debut at number 6 on the Billboard 200 and number 1 on the hip hop charts. It remains Bun's most commercially successful album and a monument to a time when the South knocked doors down. We know you love this ranking, so dive in more by watching our ranking of UGK albums and our list on Pimp C. We also have our rankings of other H-Town legends like Zero and Trader Truth finished and more on the way. So stay tuned for more CT. It's your man CJ Williams. I'm out. We finally have a winner for our Common and Pete Rock Auditorium Volume 1 limited edition vinyl.
That album was fire too.
It was most definitely Grammy nominated too, and this joint is limited to 500. It's the opaque gold joint. Ooh, but first we got to give a special shout out to FAMS Coalition for teaming up with us for this giveaway. If you didn't know, guys, FAMS Coalition is a national coalition of black-owned record stores. Shout out to them. They would like to thank their sponsor, Concord Records. Appreciate that as well. And help us show support to these locations, dog, by pulling up and shopping with them. Go to famscoalition.com to find a location near you. And while you're there, flick it up one time, man, and tag them on IG at FAMS Coalition. Let them know CT sent you. All right, now to the winner. We got a random number generator.
Yes.
Shout out to the people that commented, followed the instructions. Salute to you.
All the instructions.
All of the instructions. Yes. But let's get it. Hit the button and tell me what number pops up, and I'm going to pick the winner.
The number is 6.
6. Shout out to Gun 7 Network.
Gun 7 Network, shout out to you.
Gun 7 Network. We're going to tag you in this, and we're going to get in some contact information to make sure this gets to its rightful owner. This is coming to you, dog. This is a banger. Salute to everybody who entered. Don't worry if you didn't win. There will be more. You know how we get down if you've been following the channel. So y'all stay tuned for more.